Hello, and Cameron Adams here, and I'm going to show you something. I showed you this once in a video, I think back in the summer, but this is another project I have. This is a 1958 Royce Union pacemaker, and as a matter of fact, it's the only bicycle I own that's not American. This bike was made in Germany, and I can tell it's not that's European because this thing has a bunch of weird bolts on it. Now these bolts that I have on it here are actually new because I kind of lost some of the bolts. My mom was cleaning up the basement one day and took a lot of the bolts and threw them in one of my toolboxes, and yeah, without consulting with me. But I'm not gonna get onto that right now. So I just got new bolts, and they fit, they work. So yeah, right now I am just putting on some new bits and pieces. I'm going to show you what the bike looked like in the end of the video because I have some pictures of it. I bought it on Marketplace, on Facebook Marketplace for about, I forget, I think like 60, 75 bucks or so. There's a guy I know that has a bunch of old bikes, and I bought another bike of his. That's what that green one is over there that I'm restoring. Now the red bike, that's the Shelby Explorer. As you can see, I did all the paint work on it. I renamed it though. It's no longer called the Explorer. I call it the Emmanuel. It's named after a favorite celebrity of mine. I'm sure you can guess who. And yeah, so that's another project. But we're gonna be talking about this one. Now this bike's interesting now. It's a girl's bike, as you can tell by the frame. Cruiser. It's a girl's bike. But what's weird about it is it's not like a little kid's bike, and it's not an adult woman's bike. That's a woman's bike. But this bike is more like around the time that she stops becoming a little girl and then goes into her preteen years. So I'm going to say for like a 10, 11, 12-year-old girl. Like a third or fourth grader. I'm not so sure. I don't think I've ever seen a bicycle size like this before. I'm not even sure if they still make them. They might still make them. I'll look it up later on. But yeah, this bike is almost 70 years old, and you can see some bits and pieces that are original to it, like this chain cover that says pacemaker, are not going to be going back on. This is actually a custom that I'm making. Actually, what I'm planning on doing with this bike is I'm planning on making it into a bike from a movie. And just because because of what kind of bike it is, it's a girl's bike. It's small, but not too small. It's like a medium size, I'm going to say. So I've actually wanted to do this for a while, but this, have you ever heard of the film Hoodwinked from 2005 with Anne Hathaway and Patrick Warburton, I think his last name was? It's a pretty funny movie. I've been watching it since I was little. Can't believe that movie's 20 years old already. I'm getting old. I'm going to be 22 this year. Anyway, this bike here, I'm planning on turning it into Red's Goody bike. Because if you look in the movie, you can see that the bike, the model of it, looks about the same as this. I mean, I know it's an animated movie, but it does look very similar. So, one thing I know, the bike in the movie is the same style as this. So it's It's got the curved frame for a girl's bike, cruiser, white wheels. I'm actually painting these white. They were white originally with a blue rim around it, but I'm repainting it white again. And the spokes are also going to be white. This is all going to be red. Red, almost like the Shelby, but like a darker tone. Just a slightly darker tone. Almost like maybe this color. The color of my Craftsman toolbox. This is a new back stand. The old one, I wanted to keep the old one because it was really nice looking. It was like a vintage style, but one of the handles on to hold it on had broken off, and I don't have a soldering iron to weld it back on, so I just scrapped it. So this is another piece I have from another old bicycle that I decided to reuse for this one. So she does have a basket. It did come with a basket when I bought this bike. That little basket over there. But Red's bike has a wicker basket, and that's a steel wire basket. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find a wicker bicycle basket to put on the front here. This bike even came with a headlight. One of these really old-fashioned headlights here. And if you pop the thing open, you can put a battery in it. It doesn't work, unfortunately. It might need a new bulb. Yeah, you can see how rusty this thing is. This bike must have been sitting outside for 50, 60 plus years. It was super rusty when I bought it. Super freaking rusty. But, I mean, a little rust ain't gonna kill this thing. I'll tell you something. Old machinery is a lot better than new stuff. Old bicycles, old cars, old anything. It's a lot better than new stuff. It lasts longer. It holds up its value a lot longer than new stuff does. That's why I like collecting these old bikes. They're much stronger. This is an American model. This is an American model. That's a German model. So, but other than that, they're all really good though. One thing though that I hated about this bike was down here. I don't have it on currently, but the brake on here, this is a foot brake. This isn't a hand brake. There was a bolt that I had on there that had no slit in it, so I couldn't unscrew it. I thought it was just like very rusty to the point where I can't see the slit. No, Royce Union did not put a slit in that brake, in the bolt for the brake. All right, and it was also rusted on too. It seems as though every single time I have an old bicycle with a foot brake, the bolt that holds the brake on is always the rustiest. Because even with that one, that's a 1960s Schwinn Hollywood. It used to be red, but I painted it mint. That one also, the bolt to hold the brake on was rusted. But you can see I got a new one on. So, yeah. The bike looks like it's purple. I always thought it was purple, but actually, it was blue. Because these went to it. They went to the, on here like that. But I'm not going to use these anymore. I'm gonna keep those for another bicycle project, and I'm gonna keep that for another bicycle project. But yeah, but because it was in the sunlight for so many years, the blue had just, it rusted out, tinted out, whatever. It lost its color and it turned purple. But it doesn't matter because I'm gonna repaint this all red. So, and I gotta find a way to take this off. I don't want to damage this though. This is the plating is where it says Royce Union. Some of the paint fell off of it though. I'm gonna try to see if I can get that off. I want to try to put it back on when I'm done. When I bought the bike, it didn't have grips on it. I got new grips for it, but it had the little like rainbow colored frills on it. Actually, these are the grips I have. These came off of another bike that I bought, which was a parts bike for the Shelby. I can't get them on right now because they shrunk. Because when I was trying to take these off the handle of the other bike that I took them off of, I had to actually put these in a boiling hot pot of water. Because when you put rubber in hot water, it expands and it makes it easier to slip off. But now that they're dry, now they're contrasted, so they shrunk. So if I want to get those back on, I gotta boil them up again. But as you can see, these things are very weathered and worn out. I want to try to see if I can get the white back on them again. You see the inside, they're white. Red's Goody bike from Hoodwinked, the handles were white, so that's why I decided to use these. And the seat was white too, which is why I got this one. I got a bunch of old bicycle parts. I got wheels, gears, seats, extra pieces here and there, handles, chains. I'm loaded with all kinds of bicycle bits and pieces. So, yeah. So that's where we're at here. I want to paint it sometime in the spring or in the summer when it gets warmer. Alright. And I gotta finish getting the rest of the rust off here. Do all that. But it should look nice when it's done. So, yeah, this will be the very first time we get to see the Goody bike from Hoodwinked in real life. I don't know if they ever made a real schnitzel truck, if you know it. If you remember that. Yeah, that was really funny. But yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted to make a bike or some kind of vehicle or something based off of a movie, so it just out of nowhere I just decided, why not Red's Goody bike from Hoodwinked? So that's what this is gonna be. Yep. This isn't gonna be based off of a movie though. I just chose this color. I was originally gonna go for a light yellow, but the paint that I'm using, this is Rust-Oleum. This paint. It's Rust-Oleum spray paint. And Rust-Oleum doesn't have the color I needed. The only color that I needed, only HDX provided, which HDX sucks. Alright, HDX sucks. The paint smears off, it doesn't stick right. It never comes out the way you want it to. HDX always works out. Alright? So, why did I say that? HDX never works out the way you want it to. Rust-Oleum works. This is all Rust-Oleum, alright? That's all Rust-Oleum. Alright? Use Rust-Oleum. Rust-Oleum's the best. Rust-Oleum, HDX, alright? Rust-Oleum, always and forever. Alright. So, yeah, so that's what this is gonna be. Hope I can get it done in the summer. I'm just putting it back together for now so I can see how I'm gonna have it all assembled before I take it apart again for sanding and painting. But yeah, take a look at the Shelby. Now this rim here has a fitting on it to put a light, but that light doesn't fit on here. So this actually is supposed to go on the handle. So I wanted to be a little bit more unique. So I jerry-rigged it on the bottom there. And it still works. So, yeah. I'm actually going to back this up real quickly. If I can. Oh, it's hard to do with one hand. Hold on a second. There we go. Just so I'm not blocking the doorway. Alright. So that's that. Alright. I'm going to end this video in 3, 2, 1.